What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
Are we rolling?
We can roll whenever.
Let's go. Welcome to Male Cartel. These are your hosts, Nick and Shane. You already know what time it is. Man, we got a lot to get started. We got a lot to get. We got to talk through a lot of stuff today.
This is a weird one because we're recording on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the diva. I'm actually going to be out of town at a youth event deal, and it kind of sprung up last minute. So thank you to the Nicholas and to the producer, Money, Carell.
How was y'all's lunch? Y'all went to lunch.
We did, man. Went to lunch. It was good. We ran into your family. Ran into the OG. He rolled up. He was there with Mama. And
what was that, episode 7? OG Tim Carnes? If not, y'all can go look that one up.
Yep. So he was there, and then the fish man, and then your sister too. Yeah. So
she listens.
She does.
Shout
listen.
out to Kelly.
Yep.
She's the one that gave us some of these props and things like that. And for
those
awesome. Who are watching the video, you'll see I'm looking on my phone because we were just talking about some guy stuff, and I was looking up this song that I heard the other day, and I was going to look at some of the lyrics on it.
We were really talking guy stuff. Like, it was like locker room guy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's common for
dudes.
Men.
Yeah.
It's nothing that, like, I don't think it's inappropriate, but it's
simple.
just reality.
Dudes, bro. Yeah, it's like my kids, my boys, I don't really like for them to pass gas around Mama.
Yeah.
When we all get together, let her rip.
Yeah, this song was talking about they're my ride or dies. Yeah, these are my boys for life. Boys for life. I heard it. I hadn't heard the whole song, but I was like, man, that'd be cool, like for us to do like a video for the Male Cartel with that.
Let's do it.
Because these are our boys for life.
Let's go.
Guys that tune in week after week. We're so grateful. And
yeah, man, we're pumped about that.
So what you got coming up?
Man, I'm going, this is a week before summer camp, and then I'm going to visit another camp this week for 2 days. This is like kind of busy season, but it's busy and not busy at the same time. I got a trip in July, and then a camp I'm speaking at North Carolina, and then we have ours, and then I'm pretty much our camp at first week in June, and then other than that, it's spotty, like things to do. And so, but this is sort of busy season. The next week, this coming up week is really pretty slow.
You're going to need like a lot of breaks after that, like to rest and recoup.
Bro, here's the truth. I don't do that. I don't frown upon everybody who do the same thing, but long as my kids are cool, honestly, like I got to work. I guess the working hard really is for me making sure that I have that quality time with my sons and then my daughter and my wife. long as we do that, they come with me. A lot of stuff that I do, I kind of provide a way. And I have 2 that's basically in student ministry with me, so it's a little bit different. And then I'm trying to think, coming back from something. So we have like comp time that we'll give, like we call it flex time.
Okay.
After an event, but like I honestly, I may try to use a Thursday come back from camp, so it's Sunday to Sunday for me, and so straight through. And if you know that, that's like I'm only sleeping like 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
So like,
well, I know that like with family, but see, there's some people they'll work a couple extra nights here or there, an event, and then they're so exhausted. There's probably one good reason to be in good shape and stuff because you don't get exhausted from just a little bit of extra work.
Yeah.
But they're probably not spending it with their family. They're probably in bed, laying on the couch, lazy
so people
boy.
like that, I want them far, far from me because that will irritate me. That will irritate me. Because it's like, if you're listening to this and that's kind of you, I would just say that's irritating for me, Nick, because I just feel like, you got like 3 gears in your car. You know what I mean? You got 3 gears, like a transmission is broke. Yeah, your transmission's broke. What if you're buying a car, which you're in the season and I'm in the season, we're buying cars, and you go like, hey, this car's great. However, there's no reverse and there's only 3 gears out of 6. And would you want to buy it?
No.
You know how frustrating it would be? You're driving like 35 miles an hour down the street and that's all you got. Good luck.
I posted not too long ago about the potentially buying a smart car, joking around, looking at my options. I actually saw one. It almost looked identical to the one I posted in Lowe's parking lot, nonetheless. That joker was so tiny. I was joking about you carrying it in the back of your truck. I mean, that's about the size. I don't know if people have ever seen one, but it looks like an enclosed golf cart. It is ridiculous. You're not carrying a 2x4 in that thing. You're not even probably carrying a brick.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I could have laid down and been as long as the car.
Dude, and if you got to hit, glitter will hit everywhere. I mean, like you get in a wreck, you get hit by another car, glitter.
Well, some people who follow us on social media may know, like our personal accounts, that I was in a wreck. It actually was right after
15,000 time wreck that Nick got into.
Well, all 3 were none of mine.
None. That's just the way it is.
2 were deer that didn't damage the truck. That's how tough the
female
truck
deer
was.
too, by the way.
Female deer, and all 3 of the people who hit me were females. But a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we recorded on a day we normally don't record on, a Monday, which is typically my day off.
Never again.
So we came in, but it's kind of your fault I got in the wreck.
How's that?
Because, listen.
Were we joking around?
No, we did talk about my truck and that, about something. But normally when we're done, we'll grab lunch. Sometimes with Kat.
That's right.
Or sometimes with producer Carell. And normally we'll stay in a certain geographical region. Well, you had to go.
That's right.
You jetted. And so I asked Carell before I had to go back home. I said, you want to grab lunch?
And he said,
well, we ended up going, we're going to Slim Chickens, which is out of that geographical area that we stay in. And it's because we were over there, I got hit. So it's kind of your fault.
All right, common denominator.
Had you not been so busy that day.
That's right. Hey, I went to lunch today with producer Carell. So, like, if he gets in a car accident the next 2 days, we know I'm the common denominator.
Well, when we ride together, we're good. See, because he was in an accident, his car got totaled, and I was meeting him for lunch.
Okay.
And he was on the way to that lunch meeting and ended up somebody rear-ended him and totaled his car. And then this time, he was behind me a little bit, but we were going to meet, and this time it was me. But anytime I ride with him, it's fine.
It's
even
good.
though do you know this about producer Carell? Y'all drove a short distance. He has bad road rage. If you've ever ridden with him, it's bad.
I thought I saw him. He was going to flick somebody off.
Did he go? Did he throw his hands?
He didn't throw his hand. No.
Oh, yeah. He'd be like, he was riding with me and had road rage for me.
Oh, man. He was accepting
Are you
responsibility.
getting upset with them for me?
He's like, I got you, Nick. Right now, I'm going to be I'm going to be your feelings.
Like, I'm good. I'm just driving. I'm calm. And there's one car. They're kind of slowly merging into the other lane. And he's like, I hear him under his breath going, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Are you okay?" I'm okay. The car's 3 lengths ahead of us. And he's over here having a meltdown because they're not getting in the lane quick enough.
Right now, producer Krill can't even breathe. He's laughing
well,
so because
he doesn't deny it. That's one thing I appreciate about producer Carell. He does not deny it. Like, he knows he has road rage. He gets very angry behind the wheel. So I don't know what would have happened if the lady hit him.
Yeah. If we were, hold up,
it'd be like, bleep, what are you bleep?
Because they said it was your fault. She was trying to defer.
The woman tried to say it was my fault. When I saw her hand her witness statement to the police, we had a witness, and producer Carell was standing there, and I saw her hand, and I was like, well, that ain't right, because it was way too long. And I knew, and so when I got the report back and read it, she said that she was in the center lane, merging right, and there was a black Mercedes that she had to wait to pass. She looked, it was clear, and she had to draw a little line and write the word slowly to add it. As she slowly merged into the lane, she was hit by a black truck. Well, there's 2 problems with that. One, it's a bold-faced lie based on not only the witness, the damage to my truck, but also the fact that she incriminated herself, because that is a left turn lane only, Georgia law. You can only turn left from that lane. Well, she said in her statement she was sitting there waiting to merge right and to turn into the right lane. So she admitted she broke the law anyway. But that's not what happened. She was cutting across 2 lanes of traffic, almost hit a larger truck than mine. He blew his horn at her, and it made her gun it, and she crossed the center line trying to get into my lane and hit me in the rear door and the bed.
Oh, yeah.
And just destroyed it. I just got word Thursday they officially are totaling it. So, and then come to find out, worse than that is the fact that the week before, their insurance lapsed, and they didn't have coverage on their vehicle when they hit me.
So what happens now?
So our insurance it'll go under uninsured once they verify. They probably already have verified she didn't have insurance, and then they will go ahead and cover everything, and then they'll go after her personally. So she's got the damage to her vehicle. Hopefully, something will happen as far as I don't say hopefully. The husband, my insurance broker, called to try to figure out what the deal was. Yeah. Talked to her husband, and he said the husband was kind and forthright, cooperative. So, things happen. I don't know if a credit card expired and it didn't charge. I don't know, but the husband was good. But the woman tried to lie. So part of me wants her to get a ticket.
Yeah.
They also said that the state will fine her because she didn't have insurance and was driving. And then she also has the damages to her car and that to cover out of pocket. And if the insurance company goes after her, you're looking at a huge bill on my truck. So,
dang.
So I am right now it's a mess. I'm not going to take this whole podcast to go through all the details as far as interest rates, even with excellent credit, cost of vehicles. So as I told you the other day, I'm thinking about just looking for a cash car, taking the settlement, paying cash for something, really older and cheaper, something reliable, taking the rest, putting it in savings, and then waiting a couple years, see if the interest rates will drop and find something. If not, you and I are talking about becoming the Tundra brothers.
That's right.
Tundra twins.
That's right. Tundra twins.
Looking for maybe a Toyota, see if we can get a good deal on maybe a couple Toyota Tundras.
Man, so, bro, when I was in college, I had a red Isuzu Rodeo. I come off
Little Miss Rodeo.
Dude, it was I forgot my train of thought. You'd have messed me up.
Little Miss Rodeo. Little Red Rodeo.
Little Red Rodeo. I get off the second exit in Thompson, And as I'm coming off, there's no cars around. One car in front of me slams the brakes, locks them down. I locked down, and it had stick shift 5-speed. I put it in neutral. Master brakes was like, whoa, what is happening? Then they took off fast. So put it in first, went, then they locked them down again. And I looked to my left just to make sure I can go on because it was like there's no one around. It's just like, and it was a Sunday evening. And I had those like license plates you have in front of the it's like a piece of plastic,
Yeah.
And then you have your little metal license plate. And so I had a little Florida Gators like license plate, just God's team. And it hit the bumper. Only thing of the back bumper, all it did was crack my little deal. That's it. Well, we got out. She jumped out. She's wanting to make sure there's a bump. I said, "Man, I'm so sorry. There's nothing, whatever." And she goes, "Oh, I don't know." And I said, "This is what's happened, whatever." And about that time, I kid you not, you see this in movies and different things. She goes, "Oh, I think my neck. Oh, I think my neck. I think something's wrong with my neck. Oh, I got to call the police." So I call the police, call my insurance company, everything, because it was out of it, Thompson. Kid you not, the police pulls up. So the GBI, because it's right there.
Yeah.
There's like tons of cars. They come up. The cop comes to me and he was like, "I don't see anything." I said, "Well, this is what's happening." And he was shaking his head like, "What in the world?" And they were like, he was looking at it. My insurance agent, she said, "Hey, well, I'm actually leaving Walmart. I'll just come on by." She came by. So I'm out there with the GBI, Thompson Police Department, and my insurance, the lady I see for my insurance. We're all sitting there, and I had like farmer's insurance. And we're sitting there, and the girl is like, "Oh, woman's like, should I go get on an ambulance and all this stuff?" And I was like, "There's nothing." And the cop said, literally to me, was like, "Shane, Mr. Paget, I think she's really trying to, milk the situation." They ended up filing a complaint, and then everything got dropped, like the insurance, because there was nothing. She didn't have a scratch. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. Only thing you could figure out was that it hit her bumper, went in, and popped back out. There wasn't even a scratch. There was nothing noticeably. The only thing you saw was my front was cracked, was from the where you screw it in. True story. But she went, "Oh, my neck. Oh, my neck. Oh, I feel it in my neck." And I was like, "Is this really happening? It's happening to me."
Pop in an Alka-Seltzer.
Bro,
and
I didn't know
start
what to
foaming
do.
at
I
the mouth.
wound up calling my insurance. That's the only thing I knew to do.
That's
really
cool.
didn't
They
know.
were local.
Right there. Came from the Walmarts, bro.
Did you tell them State Farm they can just show up, like teleport?
Should.
Who
This
is
is
it, Jared?
Farmers.
What's the State Farm?
It was
person?
not even State Farm, bro.
But I mean, State Farm can do that. Have you seen the commercials?
I did. Old boy shows up to
Just shows
everything.
up in his khakis.
Bro, it was crazy, man. Kid you not.
My first
neck,
accident was something similar, but not on the spot. I was in what I called Goldilocks. It was a Pontiac 6000.
Let's go.
It was all rusted out because it was
all
from
metal.
Michigan, and it from the ice or the salt on the road and all that. And the front end of it, well, this was after the accident. I'm carrying some guys to baseball practice when I was in high school, and this person in front of me in a Mercedes or BMW, it was one of those fancy cars, not that I had.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they missed their turn, didn't use their blinker, and just turned. And, slammed on their brakes to go turn, and we hit them in the back. Well, their vehicle didn't have a lot of damage. Mine did.
Yeah.
And so when they filed for their insurance, I remember my dad telling me something about, the insurance was claiming they were complaining about hurt back. I mean, this is like slow speed, 10 mile per hour, 15 mile per hour. Mine was damaged pretty bit, but it was already kind of rusted and stuff. So I didn't have the money to fix it up. So I had to take wire and re-angle my headlights. These were the old square glass headlights, and then put clear shipping tape over them. It was the most ghetto car, but it got me where I needed to go. I drove that car until the gas line rusted out.
Dang.
But it was the same thing. Person was fine walking around, and then the next day we get a call. Insurance is saying they're trying to claim that they, their neck and back hurts and all this from like 10 miles per hour.
Man, some people, man, they just trying to make $1, man. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Well, people tell me, oh, time to get a real truck like a Ford. Well, the one thing, 2 deer, no damage. And when the lady totaled my truck, other than my elbow hitting the steering wheel, like I didn't feel any pain. I had no pain. I had no soreness.
Airbag came up?
Nope, airbag didn't come out. But the truck absorbed the brunt of the accident. I could have been like, oh, my back and my neck. I could have played that game, but there was no soreness because I'm a man. I work out. I'm fit.
Y'all heard it.
Ain't
today.
no woman.
He's a man.
Ain't
bro.
no woman making me feel bad.
I still think the Toyotas is the best route, unless you do want to get like that 4Runner I sent you,
which is a Toyota.
And that thing looks clean, nice, and they run forever and ever. Especially those year models. I'm just that's how I am at this moment. Just trying to find something that's going to last me 6 years with no major issues, and then something that I can hand to my son, and then he can buy it from dad, and I can give him something reliable versus having to, try to find part-time vehicles. And I have a lot of people work with young people. They go and purchase off of Facebook and different stuff, used vehicles from different people, and they just find lemons.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking in my head going, man, I don't know if I want to find something for my kid. And they spend the money and it just breaks down.
Right.
Like, I'd rather just have the vehicle and then sell it if he loves it, and then he'll have something like super cheap, that
Well,
I feel
you
like
own yours is paid off.
Oh, my truck's been paid off for a long time.
I still had a little bit of a payment because I bought it in 2021. So that's the other benefit for me is I take a payment away from us. We can bank that. And so in 2 years, the amount of what I figured out the down payment I would have, like if I get what I want from insurance, but I bought like that one you sent me, something in that $5,000 range, then I put a good chunk in the bank in savings, and then we start saving that monthly payment.
Oh yeah,
the sales tax would be less, all that, and then I'd be in a better position. Plus, we have a little more flexibility. So over the however long that lasts, my thought is maybe a couple of years. If I can get 2 years out of it, my daughter gets on our insurance and off by then. She's about to turn 16. We let them stay on until they're 18, and finish school and all that. And so 2 years she's on our insurance, then she's off. And then I've got a good chunk of cash if I want to buy something newer, nicer. So I'm there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
I found a 2000, I think it was 4 and a 2006 4Runner in about the same price range. 4-wheel drive, leather, all that type stuff. A Sequoia. So there's some options out there in that price range. So,
but that's the play, man. If you could do that, I've had my truck for over 15 years now, and then I paid it off in 3.5, and then, but now you're looking at what I bought it,
right,
with like 27,000 miles or whatever it had on it, bro. I can even buy. I mean, that's like now looking at 15 or so years ago, a GMC 4-door Crew. No 4-wheel drive, but in great, I'm like basically brand new, 2 years old, 27,000 miles. And then what you would buy now, I'd have to find something that has almost 200,000 miles.
Right.
For what I pay for it.
Right.
And so now
how many
it's
miles
just
is on yours?
Mine has 165.
Yeah.
So that's, and the thing that I'm going to have to put in my truck is just talking guy talk with trucks and stuff. Like I need to redo the suspension underneath it, because it's the same one that's been there since, that long ago. So then I have to, and it's the front definitely needs it, and it's not like an emergency to get it done, but like it really, I can tell it really needs to get done. I got to buy new tires. So like I bought rims, those same rims or the same ones that came off of a Denali, GMC Denali, same year and everything as my truck. So, but my tires are bad shape. 2 of them are in really bad shape. So like, so I'm going to get tires. So what I'm going to do is just find something on Marketplace, like new rims, new tires, because my tires are like, there's 20-inch rims. I mean, that's $1,200 for my tire. So like, the guy, if I can find, so that's that suspension and then all these there's a sensor issue with the back door that happens. I just gotta change that out, and that's only like a $20 issue. So in my head right now is like I need to spend $4,000 in my truck, and so the thing is if my transmission goes out in the next 2 years, it means I'm gonna have almost 10 grand in my truck.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'd rather buy something like I said, Toyota Tundra or something, and then keep it and then if I drive 10,000 miles a year, which that's my average. So if I do that, it'll have in 2 years the same miles as my truck currently have.
Yeah. I did 11,000 since January. That's how much, driving I do. So
we drive my wife's van more than on trips and stuff. But I think I would drive more. Maybe not. I don't live but 6 miles from and so, but I don't drive a whole lot.
Well, I'll help you out. If one of the Male Cartel who love you wanted to start a GoFundMe for your tires.
For my tires?
Come on. You got to have good tires. We can't lose Shane, one of the hosts of the Male Cartel, over slipping and sliding in rain.
Yeah, man. So like that's a true, or just hold off and then because I can get me a Tundra.
You got those slicks.
That's slicks. I do have 2 really bad tires.
Or down payment on a Tundra.
But my back, how I am. I'm like, well, if I told my wife, I said, I really would love to have find a Tundra that I like this week coming up, and if I don't, I think I'm just gonna.
I saw a really nice one yesterday was Saturday. I had to remember this is Sunday. I saw a really nice one. I almost took a picture of it just to make you think that I bought it.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was bad. It was really nice. So who knows? We may end up still doing that.
You never know.
And then we talked about changing the podcast title from Male Cartel to the Tundra Twins.
Tundra Twins. Let's go.
So,
what do you want to talk about today? There's a lot of stuff, but I love our topic. I kind of know, but.
Well, we were talking about, and I think this is actually important as we make these decisions because these decisions affect our children.
Yeah.
But they also, and our families, but they also teach lessons. And that's why I'm thinking, okay, can I do something that stewards our finances really well?
That's right.
Like we were making that truck payment, no problem, but could we do better if there's other options? And so what we were kind of talking about, kind of hitting up this episode is, I think it's if you were like to call it something, that kind of unforeseen legacy that we leave.
Yeah.
We all talk about leaving a legacy, and that's one thing. Okay, I've got a focus and a target that I want to leave this kind of legacy. But we also, based on what we were talking about the other day, leave a legacy that is unseen. It's like unplanned, but it's based on our behaviors, what our children see of us. And so we're teaching either directly sometimes or indirectly. So they're learning from us. And you were sharing some things like in your neighborhood, when it came to like doing maintenance on your own vehicle. And I think you had seen maybe a report or a story about some things. So if you want to kind of start things off with what you were sharing with me about that.
Yeah. So I talk about the next generation a good bit, working with young people for 24 years. And we all.
Can I pause you right there?
Yeah, go.
This was interesting. And I think you said something about this the other day. I was reading an article because I did a message today on work, and I may reference some of that today. Do you know Gen Z, which a lot of people use to reference like youth groups and things like that? Gen Z actually are in their early 20s down to like high school or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're not as young as people make them out to be.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. So there's a lot of misconceptions because using the lingo Gen Z has become very trendy.
Yeah.
And a cultural thing right now for the past 3-4 years. So now it's just like, oh, Gen Z. And so just like how they used to do millennials back in the day, but now because we use technology, I mean, it's just, now we have like TikTok and TokTiks and all kinds of Snapchats and all the little technologies. And so, but people make money off of Gen Z. It's not as young as everybody thinks. I mean, they're like 20-year-olds to high school. And depending on what you look at, whether it's Pew Research or other research group, it literally can go down to 8th grade ish, and some can go to 7th, as low as 7th. But most of the people that I like look at, it's usually right now. I like even the Sunday, 2 Sundays. I mean, a couple months ago, I spoke at both 2 different campuses, and we call it Next Gen. And so I just said it's easier to know high school through college is a Gen Z, and then Gen Alpha is the iPad generation. It's kind of like what some people term it. That's how I term it. They don't know nothing about that. They get my kids. They get frustrated about my youngest, my boys, of commercials. They don't understand commercials. So we've been teaching them patience through commercials, kind of like how we grew up. But yeah, so one thing is that you have people, they dog out the generation for being lazy and soft and things like that. And the truth of the matter is, those are all really true. At large, they're way more engaging and can work hard at technology, things that you can't really you don't really see oftentimes. And so who's to blame when the generation's like that? Well, I blame parents, bro. I blame the dad, the mom, the parents. They learn it. It's a learned behavior. A lot of these things are learned. It's not innate. It's not like they wake up and they're like this. And so, but there's fascinating is that you look at the laziness or other things. We drove down my neighborhood, and this is where the conversation went, is that you drive down my neighborhood and you never see anybody work on cars. But just think about back when you and I were young, people worked on their cars.
Yes.
There's always a hood. Somebody would walk by and say, hey, do you need some help? There'll be 4 dudes underneath the hood telling their advice. No, I think that's a different,
That might be because of where we grew up.
100%. But even like just thinking like that. So then I started thinking just like what you just said. I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just how we grew up, et cetera. Well, I started thinking about people mowing their grass or doing their own lawns. Well, I mean, there's all these different lawn carers down in our neighborhood, and we don't live in a plush neighborhood at all. You live in a money neighborhood, Producer Carell, when it's named after have a body of water. You got a creek name in it, a lake, a river. You live in like a Riverwood. Either. You live in, there's a lake. There's got to be something creek, Mill Creek, Briar Creek.
Name of my road. You just got creek in it.
You got creek. It's straight money. Mine's like
we got floral and body of water.
So body of water means you got money, bro. It just means we got a drainage ditch.
Dude, we moved into our house, and the first day or two, somebody broke into Nikki's car and stole one of the kids' games out of it.
Dang.
We live in like the ghetto side of Columbia County.
Yeah. I like your neighborhood. It's not plush.
They're nicer homes. They are nice homes.
But it's not.
But you
plush.
live in Evans.
I do live in Evans.
Let's look at the median income between Evans and Grovetown.
Yeah, I'm the poor one. So but you go down my neighborhood and you don't see.
We're going to end up doxing ourselves and
right, 1000%. You go look at my neighborhood though, and you see different people that do their lawns. That don't do their lawns. It's just they just hire different companies. And I know so many of my friends, they just pay people, and they just say, "Well, I just give the money to help support somebody else, and I'm giving jobs, I'm helping employment rates and stuff like that." But I just started thinking, it's just teaching work ethic, and when there's young men that stay inside because it's hot, you won't see kids play outside a whole lot in the summertime. But back in the day, we did that. Can you imagine this? I'm looking at Producer Carell right now because this is something I'm see money. Back in the day, we didn't. He said his name is C No Money. But back in the day, what did we do with water? Hey, what did we do with water?
We drink out of the water hose.
Right? Did we go? Listen, we gotta have a Stanley. Did we? Everybody carrying water around, and they still dehydrated.
Bottled waters. We didn't have bottled water. When was bottled water created? I think I was like in middle school or something. It's like,
you got a Dasani for the first time. You thought you was rich, big money. You got it out of this vending machine.
Look at this, great value. This
right?
is Walmart. Our church doesn't have Dasani. We have great value.
It's fun. It's crazy.
We had the tap we had the
Straight
faucet.
the faucet.
Yeah.
If they got iron in it, if it's a little yellow, it's a little yellow.
It wasn't even ours. Like I had to break into my neighbor's house.
That's right.
I didn't even have a house.
You get iron, that's just good for your body, bro. You need some.
Right.
You got
Do you
low
know
iron. Your
what's in that
hemoglobins
water?
are low. So what do you think about that? Like, and then there's kids that don't know how to sweat. They're like,
what is this? What is this water
what is
coming
happening?
from my body?
It's like, oh my goodness, am I throwing up, Mom? Am I throwing
I'm
up?
dying. My body's throwing up.
But there's just like
My
some
body's
things,
crying.
I think we just creating.
That's
just,
what sweat.
It is my body.
My
Your
body
body's crying. Your body's crying because you have to work. But I mean, think about it. It's like leaving a legacy. But there's a lot of people. You're not. But I know, in saying all that, I know there's a lot of good people who are raising their kids and being good examples. But at large, it's like, man, you're always telling a story. The question is, what story you're telling.
My kids love my stories.
Yeah, I like. So hold up before you answer. Before you give me your 2 cents. So is Tristan and Gavin? They're off your insurance, your car insurance, or do you make them pay?
No, so Gavin's on his own. It's actually cheaper for him because although we bundle to get a lower rate, for him, it ends up being higher because it adds a third vehicle to our policy. Tristan is on ours, though he graduated early last year. He graduated at 16.
That's right.
Both from high school and
so smart.
tech.
I saw him the other day too, by the way.
Oh, did you?
I got like 4 hugs from him.
There you go.
I was very, very, filled my tank up.
Well, so he graduated at 16 with 2 automotive certificates from tech school at 16. Then he turned 17 in August. And so because Gavin was on our insurance until he was 18, we give him the option. If you go to school, which Tristan had already gone, but if you want to go to get welding certificate or business degree, whatever, if you go to school, we're going to help you and keep you on. But if you enter the workforce, then you're on your own.
You grown then.
Right. So at 18, when Gavin, our oldest, graduated, and then he turned 18, we left him on there just a little bit so he could enjoy his summer and stuff like that. Sure. He turned 18 in January. So he got a few more months, but he went on his own. And so Tristan in August will go on his own. Haley turned 16 in July, and while we don't have a car to add for her, she will, until she saves and buys her own car. Both the other boys bought their own cars, then cash cars, and they fixed them up. They both took automotive and they work on them. And so she'll be on our policy, probably won't go up as high, but her vehicle and she at 18, if she has a vehicle by then, will go off of unless she goes to school, and she may choose to go to like tech school. She likes welding as well. Excuse me. And so she may choose to go to tech school or whatever.
She'll be the prettiest welder that ever was.
She's doing it now. I mean, I
know, it's crazy.
Yeah, she's doing it in high school, and she does it at home. We have like the boys found or got like a little cheap welder, and so she makes stuff at home. So anyway, at 18, once they finish school, and if they go into the workforce, but if they continue on at school, we'll help them. Because
that's the same way.
Their education.
I'm the same way. It's funny you say that because I'm the same way.
Yeah, I mean,
if they go to work, if they go into workforce, I'm gonna treat them as if they're grown.
Yep.
In that regard, they still live at home, but I'm gonna treat them as grown. But if they go just off the school, I really want them to make good grades.
Yeah.
And especially if they have to take out loans or get scholarships, just maintain. Because even if you get scholarships, you're working for it,
right?
By maintaining your grades, to be the best, so you can maintain scholarships. So I'll do whatever I can to support you. So
and I've changed a little bit. I'm kind of like, all right, graduate. When y'all moving out? But two things I've kind of have changed my mind on this. One, biblically, if you look, most families stayed together until marriage, even adult children. Yeah. If you look at other cultures, like in Middle Eastern type cultures, that's what they do. In fact, a lot of families still live together, and that's why some of them are super kind of look ultra wealthy. They got nice homes and vehicles and all because they're all living together and kind of sharing. That's not going to happen. You get married, you move on. So I haven't, Gavin's still at home. He's my oldest at 21. We haven't been trying to push him out. One, I've been kind of changing my view somewhat on that with biblical viewpoint. Two, with the economy, unless you find a place with 3 people, Apartments today are extremely expensive. So to move out on their own now would be very difficult and very hard. So even though they make decent money, it will take them some time. So I'm cool with them, hey, save, start putting money aside and stuff like that, because that day will come where you're going to meet someone, you want to get married. It's going to be challenging, but I haven't been as quick to, hey, you graduated high school, see ya. So they're all still at home. And Tristan actually, for like his Christmas and birthday, he's working, so he went and he upgraded his flooring, bought himself a king size bed, like painted his room, and I was like, thanks for adding to the value of my house.
That's right. It looks completely different than it was.
Because when you move out, the value of my house stays the same.
You're gonna rent it out to somebody. Let's go. That's I definitely don't want my babies. I want them to stay at the house as long as they can. But I want them to. They feel like they want to go. I'm not gonna push them out. Unless they're like 32. And want to live at the house and they're playing video games. Like, I ain't gonna tolerate that.
Yeah, we try to treat them like responsible adults, but we also, they're still living in our home, so there are still rules, and they're still like, hey, we want to know, we like you home at this time, because after that, there's nothing good that's happening. If you are gonna be later than that, let us know. But we try to give them some freedom and flexibility as graduates of high school and now young adults, but at the same time, there's still rules. You're living in my house, and if you don't like it, there are options.
So what do you think about the whole legacy thing?
So one of the things I was talking about today, actually, in my message, when you're talking about teaching children and that type thing, I was saying that one of the things that contributes to we were talking about work and God's purpose for work, and it's a good thing. And God created man to work before the fall. It's not a result of sin and all that. And so we were talking about that, and I was saying how, based on research today, the participation in the workforce is the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's declining is because of an aging baby boomer generation. And so the youngest baby boomer is in the mid-50s. So we're talking about generations and age. And so those are still in the workforce, but they're coming up to that time of retirement. And so right now, as of 2 weeks ago, there's 6.5 million people not working, and there's 8.5 million jobs. So it's not a result of like not having jobs. But what we're seeing is, as people leave the workforce because of retirement and death, then the younger generation's not stepping into those roles. They're not working. They're choosing, to these smaller, easier type jobs like a barista or whatever. And there's some other reasons why that I shared. But we as parents are teaching our children in some regard that. And so what I was encouraging parents with is, some of the reason that we see this in a younger generation is because they have been handed things. And so, like, instead of, hey, I need your help, go cut the grass, it's, I'm going to hire this company. Instead of, hey, we're going to fix our car, or at least try to, we're going to take it to this auto shop. Instead of, making children work for an income allowance or whatever they want, we just give them handouts. And, the Bible talks about in Proverbs, I think it's in chapter 16, it says, wealth from get rich quick schemes is disappears quickly, but wealth from hard labor builds over time, so it lasts. And so what I was telling parents was when we just give our children what they want, we don't make them earn it, work for it, things like that, that to a child is a get rich quick scheme, because they have nothing, they want this video game or they want this activity, whatever, and you just give it to them, they just got essentially rich in their own mind. Right. They just gain some sort of wealth by asking mom and dad. That's a scheme.
Yep.
And that quickly disappears because they don't earn the value of hard work. They didn't have to work an hour in the yard sweating and calluses on their hands to have to earn that $10. And now that $10, if that's how they earned it, they understand, man, I'm not going to go spend that on a pack of gum. That's stupid. It just took me
whole perspective,
hard labor to do that. And so I think when we're leaving that kind of legacy, we're showing them by our own action or inaction or, the laziness we teach them by like, oh, it's okay. You don't have to work. You don't have to, put any effort in. As they get older, that's what they're going to do. And then we get older and we go, look at that lazy generation. Look at those lazy kids. But we helped spawn that. We helped create that. And so I think we play a role in it. And then I think there's other factors as well, really what's being taught to kids. I think there's several factors, parents first and foremost. But I also think it's parents not challenging things that kids are being told. Things like, if you work at McDonald's, you should earn $15 an hour. When just a few years ago, people with degrees, you could hope to start at $15 an hour coming out of college. But our governing system is trying to tell young people that should be minimum wage to wipe tables down or to work a cash register. And yet parents need to challenge that, but if we sit back silent, then we're allowing them to learn from the culture and from, the world and from a socialistic government. And then so our, kind of taking our hands off of things because we want to be liked by our kids, allow them to learn philosophies that don't measure out.
That's right.
Any thoughts?
Oh, dude,
that?
My brain was just going 100 different directions when you were saying that. I mean, like, it's 100% true. And, the thing that we don't know, I guess, understand too, even like when it comes to those handouts, then it's going to create an economy anyways that is really built upon lies, and then it will cost more, period, for anything. But like parents, one thing that I deal with often is when parents, when they, like you said, like you're talking about perspective, like if you worked hard, if you work $10 an hour and you paid a kid to help you in the yard, like I do my boys, and the way that we do it is anything that's not anything that's my job. I feel like it's my yard, it's my job. Like they ain't old as yard, but if I need them to help contribute, I ask them, hey, I need a hand, I need you. But I say, hey, listen, I want to put out pine straw and all this other stuff. Need you to help. I'll pay you a little bit. Too. So if and I tell them how much I'm paying my hour. So it's like usually at $10 an hour. I need you to work all 10, all hour. So 10 out, huh?
I said I'm for hire.
Like, and I want you to like work the entire time. So there's no sit down, all that. I would tell them if my boys are done, like, should we taking a break? Are we done? Like time out? I need to stop the clock right now for you. And I say it joking, obviously with love, but like at the end of them working, it's just like they have perspective of that dollar.
Yeah.
And they're literally going, man, I'm about to buy this Lego set for $30. It took me 3 whole hours of sweating, of crying. My body's crying. and I'm my body's crying for 3 hours straight in the sun. I think I may buy the $12 Lego set and then not spend the rest.
Right.
Perspective. So their whole thing shifts change. But there's parents that do give the kids make their own bed and clean their own room, and they pay them like something crazy, like $50 a week. And I'm going,
I think I got like 7 to 10.
Dude, I never got anything, but like I'm in my head, I'm just thinking, this is just crazy, But we're like you, man. We want to treat our kids. I was upset. My boys went to work at their aunt's house, over in North Augusta, and she paid them very generously. And when I showed up, the boys weren't working. I said, hey, fellas, what are we doing? And my 8-year-old and 10-year-old was like, oh, been over here helping, taking a break. And I was like, have y'all been working? I said, I got a text from mama said that you guys are lazy. My wife, I was always, you put these boys. And then the next text was, they lazy.
Wow.
And I was like, not my kids. Not my kids. And I said, I gave them a pep talk, and they started working. And, I'm not working in the yard because she just wanted all these little knick-knack stuff with them. We got ponds, so I was like about to go fishing. And then my son was like, I'm going with you. I said, well, I'm fine with that, but you need to let them know that you're not working anymore. He started trying to figure it all out. But anyway, they paid him generously. And I said, I talked to him last night before bed, and I said, guys, I don't know how long you worked, but what you got paid, you didn't work. You were not there at the house long enough to get paid that way.
So now you're going to give it to me.
So I should have made him. I should have said, give me that money, bro.
Tax.
Deboed
Dad
him.
tax.
Deboed him. You know, give me that bike, boy.
We got to teach them about taxes too.
I know, man. So we did teach them about tithing and giving money to the Lord. And that was what Dot was trying to teach them. But it kind of like did a disservice, to be honest, from what we've been trying to teach them. So I had me back at the drawing board as a dad going, I really want my sons to be hard workers. Like when I look at your kids are hard workers. Like they are hard workers. If I ever was in a bind, I know I could pick the phone up and call them. They would bend over backwards to help me, but they're hard workers, period. And I want my sons to be that way too, man. It's like, but if we're not careful, that is the legacy that we'll leave behind because we choose to cheat the system or cut corners and that's that way across the board.
Yeah.
It's not just working, but it's like everything else.
Yeah, it kind of popped in my mind. It was very intermittent if we got allowance. But I was saying even today in my message about like my dad gave us a book and it had like this binding and it had a brown cover. I remember that. It was like a checklist of all the chores we had to do. And I believe if I remember correctly, it was like $5 a week, $10 every 2 weeks. So I think he probably got paid every 2 weeks. But it was very intermittent. It was because we just didn't always have that. But the effort was always there to like, all right, here's and those sheets were for each day, or it may have been for each week or each day, but it was our list of what we had to do. And then I remember things would switch off because like it would be my turn to do the dishes one night and then Kelly had to do something else. And then it would switch and it would be her turn to do the dishes. And my dad would literally like, you do it the first time, or you're gonna have to redo it. You know, we hand wash dishes. We didn't have a dishwasher.
Right. That's right.
You know, so we learned those things. With our kids, probably could have had them do a lot more chores. I've even told my wife from time to time, you know, she even does too much for them, even at their age. But we would have them like help with the lawn and things like that because we would tell them, you know, we're paying for your cell phone. You know, as soon as they were at an age to get a cell phone, we're paying that cell phone bill. So you're going to help with the yard. You know, this isn't just hand out. And they've learned the value of money now because they work for it. And it's not always easy task of what they're doing. Painting, welding. You know, Tristan's in a hot warehouse with a welding hood on. He comes home in the summer times like just drained. You can tell. So, you know, they've learned that money comes very tightly.
So what do you think? What do you think are some key points dealing with like just as men, like leaving a legacy? What are some things that we can do? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think we just need to be aware of I think we need to take ownership of when we look at a group and see something that we don't like, maybe a laziness or something like that. Looking at it and going, was that ever me? Or has there ever been something in me that, you know, would have helped produce that? You know, I can look at my kids and say, and feel proud, but I haven't always gotten it right. Some of their own stuff is their own, who they are.
That's right.
But, you know, can I rightfully criticize this generation for this behavior? Or is it some factor? It could be their own parents or whatever. And then I think we just need to be more aware of I'm leaving a legacy by direct action or indirect things that are being watched of me. So we've talked many times about being disciplined and being consistent in things. And so I think where we talk about being disciplined for, you know, fitness and training, we also need to be disciplined in how we do things. But also, I think maybe taking risk where we talk about working on our car. Some people may not, maybe their dad didn't show them that. So they don't know the first thing about it. But I've had men even at the church who will go, they're not signing up to volunteer for our landscape team because I don't even do my own landscape. I hate it.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Well, you are teaching your young people that same thing. So I say maybe we got to be willing to step out of our comfort zone and do some things that we're not used to doing, that we don't like to do, because it's better for the family. It saves money, or it's just what men do, you know. So I think those few things off the top of my head, I think could help, you know, being aware, taking ownership, being aware that, you know, we teach indirectly. So am I being lazy in an area where I'm teaching my children it's okay to be lazy in that area? And then also maybe do hard things, you know?
Dude, that is so. We talked about this before. Like my kids, I remember my boys going outside when it was cold. My son, with one, I said boys plural, but like it was my oldest. He might have been 6. It was pouring down raining and it was cold. It's one of those like February and raining. And so it was probably like 40 something degrees, but raining hard, you know. And I let trash out. And so I was like, hey, I got to go outside. And so you coming with me? And my wife was like, oh, no. It's too cold and it's raining. I said, no. And then we got literally about to get, it's one of those husband moments. Like if you're a husband, you understand, like you know, you feel like you're about to argue and you know, like you're trying to debate, is this worth arguing?
Yeah.
It's like the before anything. You see, the storm clouds are coming.
Rising.
That's right. And then and I said, men, he needs to know that one day daddies do hard things. And if he ever is going to be a daddy, he'll need to know that there will be times where he has to do hard stuff. It starts right now. And I know you want to keep him safe inside as a 6-year-old, but he needs to know. And it's just taking out the garbage. It was not a big deal, but she was making it to be a big deal for whatever reason. Anyways, it clicked with her and she was fine, you know. I slapped her on the booty afterwards, you know, and it was like all fine. And slapped us in like a love tap, not like I just beat my wife, but like I popped her in the booty.
Breaking news: Male Cartel host beats wife.
So I go out and so so I do that, but that is the truth. I mean, we're always telling a story, man.
Yeah.
Whether we're doing it on purpose or not, we're always and so and you're cutting corners. I think that it just shows that you can get away with it. You know, certain things. The fitness thing is funny because you said it, fitness, because we do bring out fitness a lot. And then I think one of the reasons we bring out fitness, if you're a guy and you go like, oh man, they talk about fitness again. Because fitness is like literally the easiest thing you can control as a human.
Right.
Even food consumption, because you actually physically have to grab food, to shove it in your mouth and chew. However long you want to chew, unless you just swallow it. But I wouldn't recommend that all the time. But like you're like, it's the easiest to control, bro. It's the easiest to control. It really is. It's like if you can't be disciplined with that, like it will be hard. It really will be. And so,
but the parents who do not focus on fitness, neither will their children, and that's why we have generations now of extremely obese.
Oh yeah.
You know, grossly obese, out of shape, which also lends to the simple tasks of, you know, yard work, working on an automobile, things like that. If you're out of shape,
you don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it.
Yep.
You're tired, you're exhausted, and you just don't do those things. Housework, whatever.
Yeah, so kids want the easy button because they're just kids.
Right.
But parents want the easy button too. Like, oh man, I worked all day long. I deserve this. Yeah. You know, and I just think that I think you hit all the, you know, hit those spots. I think it does. You do have to look at yourself because, man, that's a really convicting thing, because I even recently just noticed like my kids being sarcastic towards me. And because I'm always like, I can say something sarcastic, and my boys, I'll say, what do I say? I say something like, man, I got no idea. Like, I don't know, figure it out. I got no idea. And I can hear my 8-year-old tell my 10-year-old, I have no idea. You just figure it out. I'm going, oh no, they're mimicking me, everything. And they generally have no idea. They're just being that way, kind of sarcastic. And then my 10-year-old gets upset. And they don't get upset with me doing it, but they just pick up my mannerism. And I'll dude, literally put me in check going, I've got to tighten that thing up. You know, how do I softly just say, no, I don't think so, versus I don't have to always be sarcastic. And
when you start hearing your kids kind of do back what you do, that's that lesson where that's happened to me several times. Is like, oh, I need to do better.
Yep.
Because they're doing something, or there's something I've allowed, a behavior, and then it crosses the line. It's like I've kind of enabled that.
That's right.
by
That's right.
know, and
but the first step is to set responsibility, and to realize that's a tough. It's gonna take some humility to do that.
Well, you don't realize it in the moment,
right?
And then when it does happen, you go,
"Oh man, I've got to tighten that thing up." But that's it. I mean, we're always telling a story, man. The question is like, what story are we telling? I mean, but this generation, like we need leadership. We need big time leadership, and we need direction, and we need to be engaged and active. And I look forward to that. I love a lot of our Male Cartel listeners who are like some of our men that you and I both know. Like, hey man, let's get after it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've changed this, and now I'm ready to make a difference.
Right.
Like, I love that. So
yeah, and that's one of the things that's so cool to be connected on social media with so many guys through the podcast. Is one, you can see what they're doing with their family, what they're doing with their fitness, what they're doing with all these areas of their life, their spiritual growth and pursuit of Christ. And, it's very encouraging, one, to see and hear some of the influence we've had, especially when we hear from them and go, hey, you've inspired me in this way. That's always cool. And so we love to have that feedback. And as we get ready to wrap up, along with this, we can say, please give us your feedback.
Yep,
please
100%.
go, like and leave a review. iTunes will allow a written review that you can put on there. I don't think Spotify does. I don't know about the other platforms, but I know iTunes does. And that's very helpful because it lets other people know, how have you benefited? And so when they're looking for podcasts, they can go and go, oh, this is something I need. But it's also cool just to see. We talked about creating a tribe of like-minded men, and so who share the same values. And so for me, it's helpful too to be able to see some of those guys and learn from them.
Yeah.
We happen to have the microphones and doing this podcast, but I'm learning from some of the other guys.
Yep.
And very inspired by them.
Yep.
One of the guys, he listens, I don't know, consistently. He listened to our last episode because he said something. I said, because it was on the Monday, and I told him, I said, doing a podcast on Monday is about as advisable as pastors having a meeting on Monday, because he was going to a pastor's meeting. And I said something about, sometimes I don't feel like I've reached my full potential. And he's like, do you ever feel like you've, reached your full potential? What is that like? Because naturally, we shouldn't feel like we've felt that way. But it's just the way I worded it. And so he was just letting me know it was a good episode. But even Nathan, he'd be a great one to have on. He hosts a very successful podcast with a couple other friends as well. But, he did 75 hard to start this year. And we talked fitness a good bit. He started running last year, ran the same 5K I did at Men of Valor. He'll be one of the main session speakers at Men of Valor. So, guys, come join us at Men of Valor.
What's 75 hard? Is that like 75 pounds?
No, so it is 75 days of doing hard things. Your diet, it's 2 workouts a day, does not matter. One has to be outdoors no matter the weather. Like, it is legit. And a lot of guys have seen great success from it. And he did it, lost a good bit of weight, but got fit. But it disciplines you in other things. You have to read like a chapter or 2 a day. I mean, it's legit.
75 things. Okay.
Yeah, 75 days.
75 days
of certain things.
Okay.
And so it's very cool. But guys like that inspire me. I'm seeing them do these things. So guys, join us on social media.
Yep.
Let us know, what you think of the podcast, how you're benefiting from it. We'd love to hear those things.
Yep. I agree 100%. If this has been a blessing or encouragement to you, share it with people. Yep. Well, I guess until next time.
Yeah. Get 1% better every day.
1% better. We'll see you next go.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.